we are live. We are live. We are live. I think. Are we live? Okay. It looks like I'm live. I'm live on Instagram. I'm live on YouTube. So I mentioned this in my last live on Instagram. So if you're watching this on YouTube, this will be the first time you're seeing this on YouTube. This is the first of a new series that I'm doing. I am doing my solo episodes for the next 3 weeks. Are going to be dual streamed to Instagram and YouTube for now, so that people can transition. But after the next 3 weeks, my guest interviews, my lives, my trainings, they're all going to be directly to YouTube. I will stop going live on Instagram. We are repurposing all of the lives that we have done here with Elf Operations and the Thrive Over Survive series to YouTube. That's where they will live. So it's more easy to be found for anyone looking, and for our guests to promo the collaboration with us. So if you're watching live on Instagram, if you're watching live on YouTube, thank you. This is the first in a more specific business series that I'm hosting. For now, it's going to be my solo training, solo topics, and eventually here we will get into having some guest interviews that I will just post, and they will not be live. Instead, they're going to be just pre-recorded. And then Thrive Over Survive, the series that I was previously doing on Instagram, is going to continue on YouTube, but it's solely going to be focused on domestic violence, awareness, overcoming trauma, and really speaking out and talking about surviving situations and turning those situations into a thriving end result for you, to help inspire others. So this is behind the scenes. This is going to talk all about business behind the scenes, and what could be more behind the scenes than business operations. So today we're going to be talking about how people pleasing could be impacting your operations. Now, as a service provider, I've worked in numerous coaching businesses. I've worked in a few different industries, and this is something that I've noticed not only with myself, but coming up with clients. They may not know that they are doing this, but it is something that happens often with especially female entrepreneurs that I've worked with, and I have seen whether they realize it or not, or recognize that they are people pleasers, or if they are doing it subconsciously. So in case anyone isn't familiar with the term people pleasers, I am definitely a people pleaser, and that stems directly from the abusive relationship I was in that I talk about, and other abusive relationships that I have dealt with. So abuse is a common thing, or a common trigger of people pleasing. So people pleasers are known for doing whatever it takes to make other people happy. It also directly stems from my personality type as a Enneagram 2. I'm a helper. If anyone watching is also a helper, if you don't know your personality type, whether it be Enneagram, Human Design, Myers-Briggs, some of those can really help give you insight into your personality and see if you are even prone to being a people pleaser. But people pleasers go above and beyond doing what it takes to make other people happy. And normally this is like considered to be kind. You're being kind, you're being helpful. But there is a point of going too far where you are not considering your own personal needs, and that can lead to feeling unauthentic. I know I felt that way. You get extra stress. You're going to feel more anxiety. If you're someone who already struggles with anxiety, this could be a reason why you're struggling with anxiety, or an effect, or contributing to the anxiety you have, is you people pleasing. You're not satisfied in your relationships. You're not doing stuff for yourself. You're not taking care of yourself. And I know as women, especially moms, it's hard to pay attention to us, focus on us, and really give ourselves the attention that we need. And then we add on another layer of owning a business, running a business, especially service providers. That is, and coaches, this can happen for coaches too. But I see this a lot with my service provider clients, or those in industries that deal directly with clients and customers. The problem is that we will people please, and it directly impacts our processes. So I have this conversation a lot with my clients. If you're familiar with my Simple Ops framework, one of the big pieces of the Simple Ops framework is standardize. And it makes it really hard to standardize your processes and your operations if you are catering to every single person or lead that walks through your door. By door, I mean that could be your virtual door into your virtual network. It could be into your actual place of business. But what happens is we will people please to get the sale. And that's the problem. I have done it. I am a culprit of doing this. I speak from experience. I'm not trying to, it just happens. Like, we people please to get the sale, especially beginning entrepreneurs or if you're going through a feast and famine, you'll do anything for the sale. And that sometimes will look like, you're deviating from your process. You're doing a custom proposal. You're doing, you're giving them a discount, for a product, but not actually like reducing the amount of work you're doing. And it's going to cause resentment towards you, resentment towards your business, not resentment towards you, but resentment towards your business. And you're going to feel that because you're not going to feel happy. You're not going to feel energetic. And your operations and your processes, because processes are directly related to your operations, are going to continue to change. There's no standard. There's no repeatable process. Then that is what causes burnout, and it causes the extra stress that so many beginning entrepreneurs or maybe mid-level entrepreneurs can feel at any stage, where you're just trying to get these sales, you're trying to make yourself, comfortable, but then you're working with clients that aren't aligned with you, and you're still upset and angry, and you're not sure why this is happening. And it's because you're trying to get everyone else to like you instead of focusing on the actual clients that you want to work with, and also sticking to the processes and systems that you want to stick with. I see so many people get shiny object syndrome because, they want to do what another person is doing in their mastermind or in their network, and they want to subconsciously they're trying to get someone's approval or get that sale. And this happens a lot with service providers. They always, especially if you're a people pleaser who is a service provider, you are going to try to, you have a difficult time saying no sometimes. You might be preoccupied with other people, what other people might think of you. So these are just some signs of people pleasing. You may feel guilty when people tell you no. You might, or when you tell people no, you have a fear of turning people down, that they'll think you're mean or selfish, and you agree to things that you don't like or things you don't want to do. I know a lot of service providers in my network, this happens quite a bit. You don't want to do it, but you're going to go above and beyond for your client. You want to make that an exception for them, but then the exception becomes the norm. Or you agree to, you struggle with feelings of low self-esteem, which can happen because you're feeling burnt out, you're not taking care of yourself, and you're bending your processes. Your processes and your operations are what are going to give you those boundaries. It's the foundation of your business that makes your business unique. A lot of people think everyone has the same operations, or they don't realize that's what's differentiating them. It's you as a business owner, as a leader, are creating those processes, those operations unique to you, your offer, your clients. Those are the three pieces of what you should be what makes your operations, your processes different, because the way you do things is going to be different than how other people do them. Your ideal client and your best client is going to be different than your competitors potentially, or maybe they are the same, but there's going to be key differences of who you want to work with and how you want to work with them. And then your processes are combining all of that together to repeat what you've done so that you can hire on a team and you can bring people on. Because if you're changing it all the time and making these little exceptions beyond the norm, or really you have no norm because you're making all these exceptions and you're doing it differently for every single person, it's hard for you to scale or grow that business, or even step away from that business. And to step away from the business, you need to have two things. You need to have automations in place, and you need to have key people in place to fully step away comfortably from your business. That is something everyone talks about online, and they see it. They see these entrepreneurs living up the life that they want without being tied to their laptop or being tied to their business. But there's a process that there are stages that you have to go through to get to that point, and making sure you have the key foundations of boundaries of what you want to do and are willing to do, what your team, and those go for not just yourself but your team as you start to build that out. And then you also have the automations in place to really make your team efficient and really make your team able to scale your business by having those key automations in place. For people on YouTube, maybe if this is your first time interacting, or maybe this is your first time interacting with me on Instagram, I will always say that you should automate first and then plug in people where it makes sense. Automation is cheaper, it's easier to manage. You can put in automations that are still personalized to make it feel from a client perspective that they are well taken care of and well treated. That gives them a perfect client just customer journey, and give them a personalized journey without having to be the one to do it all. There is ways to do that on automation. I feel like that is a blind spot or a block that people run into, saying like they can't automate certain things. They just aren't aware of the softwares that are available to do it, and they just tell themselves that they can't. So that is kind of what happens when people pleasing can creep into your operations, that you're, and what it looks like is maybe showing up, not showing up, but when you're interacting with a potential client or a client and you are consistently bending your process or going outside of your process to accommodate them, and it's leaving you feeling depleted, or you go against your boundaries, or you go against your values as a business owner, and you try to go above and beyond for them, that also leaves you depleted. And then some ways that we can talk about to help this is, if you haven't identified and established a set standard process or set standard way of doing something, I recommend you do a process map it out, and stick to it. Now, that is your standard, that is your baseline, that is what's going to happen. There will be exceptions, but do not make the exceptions the norm. They are one or two times that this will happen, and you can even list those out, like, when will you make exceptions for this? When were you, like, a very common one is, when are you going to offer a payment plan? Because you might say, I'm going to offer my service or my coaching program at X amount of dollars, but you're like, oh, people can't afford that. So I've seen this happen so many times with clients. They're like, I'm going to offer 3 different payment plans for the people. No, offer your set options that you're comfortable with, that are going to make you happy and help you run your business. But what are the outliers that you are going to allow at a special basis to have maybe a modified payment plan? What does that look like? What are the boundaries? Boundaries are so key when you're setting up your operations and your business in general to help prevent that people pleasing from coming in. And also being aware when it's happening. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling overwhelmed in your business, resentful to your business, take an assessment of, am I going outside of my scope of work for my clients? Where have I shown up or overgiven that is now I've let scope creep happen? How am I going to rein it back in? There's always a way to communicate with your clients how to rein it back in. And if they aren't willing to listen or aren't ready to, hear you out or communicate in a way that fits you, then maybe it's time to let that client go. And I know that's so much easier said than done. I've been in that situation where you aren't aligning with a client, but you don't want to let them go due to financial reasons or financial impact. Make a game plan. Give yourself a due date. Say, I'm going to leave by X amount, or you're going to find a replacement client by X amount. And that's your goal. That's your focus. But you do not have to stand there and take it. And you don't have to continue to people please them to make money. There are people who are out there who are willing to respect your processes, respect your operations, respect you as a business owner to pay for your services. Hi, Sam. Thank you for the comment. Yes, Sam and I have talked about this many times before, that it is hard to set those boundaries, especially when you are the type of person to go above and beyond. But it will give your clients such a better customer journey, and it will make you a better business owner, a happier business owner, a happier partner, a happier mom. When you are enforcing those boundaries, you're working to the process that you've created, and it's going to allow you to show up so much better for them and be present for not just your family but your clients as well. So there are so many benefits for creating your processes, creating your boundaries, identifying what your values are as a business, because if you as the leader, you as the CEO, you are not adhering to your own values of, we're not working on weekends, or, we don't constitute your lack of planning as an emergency for us and our team. You have to be the person protecting your team. You have to be the one living the company values as a whole, and you have to be the one adhering to your own processes and your own policies, or it's just chaos. And I've seen this happen so many times where we put in place processes, we put in place systems, and then the CEO of the business doesn't use them or doesn't adhere to them. Well, then that people follow examples. The team members are not going to follow, they're not going to adhere, and then it just kind of crumbles and breaks. And this happens a lot with system setups that I do, because the owner doesn't use it, or they don't try to understand how to use it, so the team then follows suit of what the owner or the CEO is doing, because they are leading by example, and that is then ends up becoming a waste of their investment, because they made this change but didn't stick to it. That's not people pleasing. That doesn't relate really to the topic, but that just kind of happened to come out with a rant in this rant. So if you feel like you might be people pleasing in your business and are not adhering to your boundaries, I would just say take a few minutes, take an hour at the end of the week or at the beginning of the week, take some CEO time, take time as a leader and reflect on, why is my business draining me? Am I not happy with my clients? Why do I feel like we're overworked or overbooked, but maybe our revenue doesn't reflect how much work we're putting in? And assess if you're a solopreneur, if you have a team, you can do this even as if you have a team, and take that hour to reflect at the beginning of the week, at the end of the week, whenever you take your CEO time, and think of a game plan of, hey, this is what I'm going to do to fix this. And if you're not sure and you need some outside perspective, that is what I do for my clients. That's what I'm here for. I have operations improvement sessions that I'm happy to hop on a 2-hour call with you and help you identify a game plan on how to correct that course. So I hope you kind of like this new live topic. There will be more topics out like this. Again, if you are watching the replay or watching live, the Instagram lives that are happening right now, they will be moving over to YouTube. So if you want to keep getting notified and you will want to keep getting updates for the topics, especially for this new behind the scenes series all about, you know, the real life or things that maybe aren't commonly talked about with businesses, especially how internal operations works, what systems people use, feel free to hop over to YouTube, give it me a like and subscribe, or, you know, a subscribe. And also my newsletter will always be keeping you up to date. So, you know, if you watched this or you're watching the replay, I would love to see in the comments what your biggest takeaway was, or maybe an aha moment that you had with maybe where people pleasing could be coming up for you and for your business. So thank you all for joining me today, and I will see you next week.